Hey guys, it's Walt, Dirtfoot Racing. I am in the shop today, and what I'm doing on the Monoshock build today is I have to put on some foot pegs. You can see where the old foot pegs were. Those things were just, let's just say, janky. When I got this Mega 212 from Go Power Sports, just riding behind my shop, I was turning and ran into a mound of dirt and leaned over a little bit, and the foot peg hit the dirt and it bent the tubing that was welded onto the frame with. So we are going to do a little bit more substantial mounting of the foot pegs in the new configuration of this bike. And instead of having these, and that's what came off them, and you can see the tubing is kind of thin, but it bent real easy. I'm getting rid of those, and I'm going to a set of these, which are wider, heavier duty. I bought these off of eBay or Amazon one time on my first build on the my Purple Haze bike, and I welded them right onto the, see where it was ground on. I welded them right onto the square tubing and right on the bike, and that doesn't work very well if they don't turn up either, because if you turn sharp and hit the ground, you get yanked all over the place. So we're going to have these properly mounted, like here on the Polini, just with springs and all that good stuff. We're going to upgrade the Polinis too, but that's for another story. So yeah, today I'm going to figure out where that's going to mount on the frame, and I'm going to weld in a piece of tubing, and then we'll cut some brackets similar to these and get these foot pegs mounted on the Monoshock Mega 212 build. So let me, I think I've got the position figured out where I want them, and the width. Obviously the foot pegs have to clear, they have to come out something like this to clear the sides of the various covers. And you don't want your, you want to keep it tight, but you got to have a nice clearance for the things on the bike. So about right there, I mean, of course my feet or boot will brush this, but it's plenty of room for that, and then that kicks back if you need be and out of the way. So let's get figuring and do a little measure, and then we'll get some tubing cut or pipe. I'm not sure what I've got to use, but I'm gonna figure something out, and we'll get going on it. All right, I'm back. I've been fabricating some the pieces I'm gonna need to actually hold the foot pegs onto the frame. So I have these strips of metal. I have to cut an angle to match the angle on the back and side here, so when they come down, they have something to rest on. That's what I did here. This could be like that, actually. Now I've got to cut the length. What I'll do in the end, I'll make me a couple spacers that go in there to replace those washers, and then there'll be a pin that goes through with a cotter key on it. So that's what I'm doing right now. Then once I get these finished, then we'll cut pieces to go in the back here and get welded on, and finish those U-shaped pieces that actually attach to the thing. What I've decided to do is I'm going to use some tubing that I have over here and take my chances. Instead of making one long piece underneath the frame like I've done in the past, I'm going to cut some short stubs, just thicker wall tubing than they had. This is the original stuff, kind of wimpy, that kind of thing. And cut some shorter pieces, angle them to meet the angle on the frame, and weld them right to the side of the frame. And I think that will work. I think it'll be tough enough. So I thought about reusing these things, but these things are janky all over the place. They're all kinds of different angles on things and such. So decided I'm going to make my own. Usually we'd cut them out when the laser on the fiber, whatever I call it, a table over there. But I'm here by myself, so I'm just fabbing them up the old-fashioned way. Cut the angles on the bandsaw, I'll cut them off, I'll weld them up. There's some scrap I had from one time I bought a bunch of police car interior petitions and the windows and a big lot of stuff. That wasn't what I really wanted. It was some other stuff I wanted out a lot, but it came with all this stuff. We ended up scrapping a lot of it. I sold a few pieces of it, but I've had a lot of material I've used out of those in different projects. So it all worked out in the end. All right, let me make the second set. Let me drill the holes in these, and then we'll cut the things and we'll weld them up, and I'll show you what I got after that. Okay, guys, so here's what I came up with for the part that attaches to the foot peg. Of course, you got this angle cut on it, so when it's mounted, it'll sit flat, and then if something happens, it gets knocked out of the way, it comes back down flat. So what I've got to do is weld some extensions onto here, which are these little guys here. They're going to get attached to here. So I've got to cut an angle on this to kind of get this so it comes out straight. I don't know why they put that ginormous clutch secondary cover on when you can use one of these and kind of get things tucked in tighter. Some people don't even run covers. I like to run a cover. Keeps crud off the belt and keeps your foot parts out of the belt too. So yeah, what I'm doing now is I'm grinding these to get an angle on them. Then I'll weld them to here. Then we'll weld them to here, and weld it serious like. These were the old ones were welded, and they were very wimpy. So we're going to weld these on there, and this is a lot thicker material, and it should work pretty well. So what I'm doing now is I'm trimming those little pieces of sections of pipe to meet the angle. And then once I'm done with that, we'll weld those on, and then we'll weld the foot pegs on, and that part will be done. Today's chore, welding on this godforsaken frame to get the project moving along. All right, I'm back. I finally got around to do some more welding today. Finish welding this thing out. Not my best example of welding, but it's welded. I'm going to take it like it is. I'm not going to argue too much. Making some progress with this being welded. I can reassemble everything, and the plan is to reassemble engine, wheels, all that good stuff, and take it out and test out the suspension, test out the front end, the back end, see how things work, and then go on from there as far as adding, high performance engine and things like that. Added foot pegs, folding foot pegs. Oh, excuse me. These type of foot pegs. That was a real pain in the buttski to get right, kind of, by myself. But I did it. It's on. They'll be all right. They'll work. They'll be fine. And we'll get the thing reassembled, and then we will test it out back here, ride around, let some other people ride around, see if they can break the suspension, or if it needs mods, and then we'll go from there with the Monoshock build. The plan is I'd like to build up a Wildcat engine, put on it, something with a lot of zing. So yeah, part of the test is to test my triple tree also that I built. So we'll try that, test out the forks, test out the suspension, and report back. But this concludes the welding stuff for the time being.